What's going on, fight fans? John Ramdeen here, and this is Fight News Now Extra. Ultimate Fighter 18 auditions went down in Sin City on Monday. Miesha Tate may not be fighting for half a year, and the King of the Ring will attempt to make his MMA sophomore appearance a successful one. Those are your day's headlines. Now it's time to get to the news. The Ultimate Fighting Championship held tryouts for the latest installment of the Ultimate Fighter reality show at the Fertitta-owned Palace Station Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Season 18 will be comprised of both 135-pound men and women, including some of the sport's most seasoned female competitors. Included on the list is Strikeforce veterans Roxanne Modafferi and Shayna Baszler, as well as 35-year-old Bodog fight veteran Tara LaRosa, who for years was recognized as the most dominant female competing in mixed martial arts, and sports a solid 21-3 record, including 15 stoppages. Also taking part in the tryouts is one of Canada's best 135-pound combatants, Josh Hill. After years of trying to get to the big show, the undefeated fighter will finally have his chance to wow Zuffa's upper brass. Hill's teammate, top-ranked 125-pound fighter Adrian Woolley, feels that Hill will be a great asset for the UFC's 135-pound category.
It's going to be a lot of fun for Josh. Josh is going to be exposed to a lot of the other, killer 135ers and 125ers down there, and I think he's just going to have a lot of fun. And if they'd be crazy not to grab him, he's an exciting guy. He's super marketable, and he's 9-0. He is the full package. He's the gentleman Josh Hill, and don't break the mold, because I mean that's what everyone really likes at the end of the day, and that's what makes him successful. And that's why they didn't like a lot of the Canadians going down there. They're too polite. They're too respectful. They're too much of the nice guy. Well, you know what? If that's what we're going to be compared or rated against, that's fine. I think Josh is going to be that respectful gentleman guy, and that's who they should grab.
It looks like former Strikeforce female 135-pound titleist Miesha Tate will be out of action for up to 6 months after suffering a broken nose in her UFC title eliminator fight with Kat Zingano at the Ultimate Fighter 17 finale. Cupcake will need clearance from an ear, nose, and throat specialist or should be suspended until October. And finally, the World Series of Fighting have added the hard-hitting Tyrone Spong to their third event, which is scheduled for Las Vegas, Nevada on June 14th. The Black-Stallion team member is coming off a TKO victory over two-time K1 Grand Prix champion Remy Bonyaski and is set to take on the 11-2 Angel de Anda in the co-main event. Also on the card, John Fitch will take on Josh Berkman, and John Gunderson battles Dan Lozon. Joining me now, the one and only Mr. Robin Black, and a great thing for the World Series of Fighting to have the very explosive, very entertaining Tyrone Spong in the co-main event, and in his second fight taking on a fighter 11-2, a big test for him on paper. Yeah. But I mean, this guy is just so phenomenal with the hands. It'd be interesting to see what happens if the fight goes down to the ground, and you have to imagine that would be the game plan for his opponent.
For sure, it better be, man. You don't want to go in there and stand with Tyrone Spong. I mean, you're going to get your head knocked off, and you know that he knows that, and he's focusing on it down at the Black-Stallion camp with a room full of fantastic fighters. At the level a guy like Spong is at now on the ground, this isn't 2009, 2010. By the time a guy like this is stepping up and fighting a guy with 13 fights, he knows what he's doing on the ground.
John Fitch and Josh Berkman, the main event of the World Series of Fighting's third event. John Fitch, of course, making his debut for the promotion. Still, in my opinion, one of the top-ranked 170-pound fighters out there. But I have a feeling this fight may not be as exciting as the Tyrone Spong fight.
Yeah, maybe not. But, man, don't sleep on Josh Berkman. This guy has been out of the UFC for a while, and I think the only fight he's lost was a split decision to Jordan Meehan in the last couple of years. And he's looked fantastic. He's in phenomenal shape. His wrestling is really solid, and he wants this really bad. He's that kind of super driven, really focused kind of guy. And this is a much better fight, I think, than people realize. They kind of assume, well, let's bring Fitch in. Let's see him beat up a guy that we know. But, I kind of think this is going to be a very competitive fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, we have to talk about the women's fight, which I consider to be the co-main event of the Ultimate Fighter 17 finale. Miesha Tate, Kat Zingano. We know Miesha Tate could be out until October. Probably a very difficult time for her, losing 2 of her last 3 or 4 fights. Of course, they're against the best fighters out there, Ronda Rousey and Kat Zingano. I think there's still a place for Miesha Tate. Very talented, charismatic, trains at one of the best camps in the world, and we've seen she perseveres, she gets through pain. She is really such a talented girl, and I think it just comes down to great matchmaking for the UFC. Just showcase her skills. But I know the casual fans, they see somebody lose, they think they're no good.
You know what? She can't give a shit about those casual fans, man. Seriously, like, this girl is an absolute star. She's just fearless, and there's no quit in her. She didn't want to quit. She would never have stopped that fight had it not been stopped for her. You know, and we talked about this on 5 Rounds this week. These women at this level, they've had a million reasons to quit in their development along this stage. You could have quit when your family said you were nuts. You could have quit when you were making $200 to fight. You could quit every day in the gym that you're getting the crap beaten out of you by these pro guys. Quit. There's opportunity to quit all the way along. The only way you rise to the level of a Miesha Tate is by being absolutely impossible to break. She's a great athlete. There's so many great fighters right now at the top of the 135-pound division. And if anybody out there thinks that the women didn't belong, they're out of their minds.
We got to talk about the stoppage too quickly. Miesha Tate, of course, protested it, and I think you know, I agree. There was a couple of big knees by Zingano, and then Zingano landed that elbow. But at the same time, Miesha Tate was looking for the takedown. I can understand her opinion.
Hey, absolutely. She's a real fighter. She didn't want to stop it, but at the same time, it's not the worst stoppage in the world. But that woman would not quit for anything.
More from Fight News Now Extra when we return.